right? Whether you're, getting, yield to compound capital, whether you're getting a mortgage or a loan to buy a house, whether you're, trading kind of currencies, whether you're, working in the U.S. and then sending money to Mexico home to your family for, remittances, whether you're, doing, I guess, redacted, which I'm not going to say, or whether you're, buying a dinner, or you're buying a gift during the holidays for your partner, all of these, you're sending money to your friends, or you're taking part in the entire kind of growing on-chain crypto economy, right? You're doing any of these things, you're not like juggling between a million apps. You're just using your money app, right? And money manifests itself in multiple ways, right? And that's why it's not a wallet. That's why it's a backpack. And that's kind of where we want to get to. And why we've kind of taken the kind of pretty unique path that we've chosen, because ultimately it's like no matter who you are, no matter what part of the world you are in, everybody kind of needs a backpack to for their day-to-day life, and so getting to that level is kind of a big ambition of ours, and ultimately kind of the end game.
Awesome. And to close it off, what would be one message you have for all the early backpack supporters here listening to this live AMA?
I think if you are interested in backpack, ultimately you're very interested in a very long-term oriented project. We have taken a very unique path. We are basically the only new exchange that's gotten to this scale post FTX that has taken the compliance path. There's not a single other one in the world. There's literally zero. There's a lot of perp dexes. There's not a single a new project that is going this path. It is a path that is extremely difficult. It's extremely expensive. It's extremely long. It is extremely painful for anybody whose goal is to just get rich quick. Everybody from our investors to the team itself, right, is locked in until this becomes one of the biggest companies in the world. It is like nobody, I can tell you for certain that nobody on the backpack team has any ability to, I guess, I don't know how to say this in a polite way, to there's no founder exit TGE dump thing where people or the team's dumping or VCs are dumping or whatever, right? That's the way that we've constructed this is basically impossible for that to happen. And I think there's a bunch of good things about this, and there's a bunch of bad things about this. And I think ultimately you get the community that you deserve, and that you kind of build this relationship with over a long period of time. And I think if you're interested in backpack, you really have to be in it for the long run. It's not a 1-year project. It's not a 2-year project. It's not a 3-year project. It's a multi-decade project. It's probably a lifelong project to achieve everything that we want to achieve. And the crypto space has this super unique mix of characters involved with it, where you have these brilliant people, these super long-term builders on one side of the spectrum, and then you have people on the other side of the spectrum, which are just ultimately looking to, extract as much value as possible in as short amount of a time as possible. And you really need to identify the people that you want to surround yourselves by. And I think people that are looking for a home that, is very long-term oriented will really kind of find a home in backpack. People that are maybe looking for something else will probably find a bunch of pain and suffering, as a lot of people maybe in the Mad Lads sphere might kind of tell you. And I think we're definitely not going to be for everyone, but it's definitely going to be for a lot of people that really resonate with this message. And so I think that's just the one thing kind of I would say. I really appreciate everybody's support thus far. We've come a long way. We have an enormous amount of product coming out during the first couple of weeks of season 4. Some of it will be new and unannounced. Other parts of it, are kind of expected. Everything from grid bots to the trading platform to redacted to opening up new regions and just growing the user base. So there's a ton that's coming out. It's a really great time to get involved with the project, and really appreciate everybody that's here in the chat and listening to this AMA, and for taking the time for the past hour